Hello, all my aviation enthusiast friends. Welcome back to the Airplane Show. Today we got a pretty cool flight. It's a pain in the ass to make because I'm using this new accessibility touch feature where it actually shows what I'm tapping on screen. I had somebody message me and complain that they didn't know what I was pushing. So I decided to try this, and it is a pain in the ass. But let's go island hopping today. We are going to take a short trip from Palma de Mallorca, Spain to Menorca, Spain. It's like 80 miles, but it's a pretty fun trip, and I get to use this Ibiza CRJ that is gorgeous. The livery is gorgeous. But anyways, they don't really fly this CRJ anymore. They use the CRJ-X, but we're going to pretend that this flight still exists. Anyways, my name is Greg. I am your pilot and your captain today on this magnificent trip we're going to take from one island to the next. Now let's take a look at our flight from FlightAware. So here's where I got the idea for this flight. I love Spain. I love the weather. I love the food. I love the people. And I love the CRJ. So it's all good. And amazingly enough, Aerofly actually has the instrument departure correct. It's amazing because they almost never have any of that stuff correct. Here's what FlightAware is showing that the path the airplane took when it took off. They actually have this in Aerofly, like I said. I built this in Navigraph anyways because I pay for it, so I might as well use it. So I built this in Navigraph, one so I could double check the ILS frequency number because many times Aerofly has it wrong, and I wanted to get the correct course because sometimes Aerofly has the course wrong too for the runway. But here is the departure information here, and as you can see, this is the departure that they took. And they actually have this in Aerofly, like I said, so we're going to use that. Anyways, before we continue, before we start this plane, you know what time it is in this video. It is time for my daily video grifting. I love grifting. Please subscribe. Click the button. Click the notification bell. Please click the thumbs up. Leave a like. Leave a comment. If you love the videos, if you hate the videos, it only takes a second to click. If you love the videos, continue your support. If you hate the videos, continue the hate and leave me comments and still watch my videos. I really do appreciate it. Now let's fire up this bird. We're going to push that button for external power, and we're going to flick that there switch for our DC electric, and then turn on both fuel pumps. That's about it for now. Now I gotta wait a few seconds for that circle to go away so I can actually move the screen. But after that, I like to move the lights. So right now I'm tapping on both of the light switches, turning them clockwise so I can make some of the lights brighter. Now we're gonna go down here and we're gonna align the GPS. So turn that one to the right. Now both of the GPS systems will align. We're going to push both of those black stab trim buttons momentarily, but right now I want to turn up some of the panel lighting. And then there we go. We can get control of this here. Push that black button, push that black button, push that red button, push those two yaw dampener buttons, and now you are pretty much all set. We're going to go ahead and get ready to enter our flight information today, and then we'll turn on the APUs and do all that good shit. I don't know if I really need to talk during this part, but I might as well anyways, even though there's going to be a red circle pushing these buttons. But now we're going to enter our flight plan. So push the flight plan button. Let me get this circle working. Hang on a second. This thing really is a pain. After they did this latest update, this touch thing doesn't work. It works as well as the dynamic lights do now that I have always worked in this plane and every other plane for years, and now it doesn't work because Aerofly decided that 58 frames a second and dynamic lights is not good. Anyways, so we just entered LEPA. Now we're typing that in. You push that button up there, push execute, and now that's good. Now we got push departure arrival, push that. We're going to choose our runway, push execute. Yeah, now we is all good. Now we're going to choose ILS 01Y. So go up there, push execute. We're not doing a standard terminal arrival. Push the legs button. Page over to discontinuity. Oh, that doesn't work. You got to push delete. Push that delete button. Then push that. And it erases it. And now your route is now connected. I like to turn off the airports from the map because I don't like it. So I just leave the VOR stations on, so that's why I did that. But the FMS is pretty much done at this point. Now we can really fire this bird up and put some juice in it. Let's see what we got to do next. What we gonna touch in this here airplane next? What should we do? That's right. Let's program the ILS right now. There's a couple different ways you can program this here ILS. I'm going to type them numbers in. Push nav 1, that button right there. And now we programmed. I'm going to show you a different way momentarily to put that info in. But while I was in the FMS, I might as well just do it. You can't program course information there. You have to do that with the knobs up at the autopilot stack. But anyways, down here, down yonder is where you can. So you push that knob there and you got the outer green band does the first 3 digits. The inner green band does the digits after that there decimal point. So that's how you change the numbers in that white box. Now if you want to go say to nav 1, let me get this touch thing. This thing really is a pain in the ass to use. Alright, so go over to the right. If you push that button, it's going to flip-flops. Now push that button right there. Come on, there we go. Push that one. And it'll flip-flop the frequencies. That one there will flip it from nav 1 to nav 2. It does it on both panels. But that button right there, if you tap it, it'll put the white box there. If you tap it again, it'll flip-flop active and the one that's stationary. So let's here tune what we need to tune. For nav 2, this is the VOR at the airport where we're going. 1112.6, and now we're going to push that there black button again. And that should flip-flop them there frequencies. See? Now 112.6 is in green. That's how you operate that panel. Pretty simple to use once you get used to which buttons to push, but you know the bottom white button flips it from nav 1 to nav 2, and the black buttons on the right there will put the box so you can switch the frequency, and then you push that black box again, and then it'll flip-flop active to not active. If you want to lower the steering wheel, just tap on the center of it, and it'll lower. That red button right here, you can disconnect your autopilot by pushing that button, which we're going to do when we get ready to land. When we make the softest, the butteriest, and the touchdown in this, we're going to push that button to disengage the autopilot once we cross 1,000 feet. Let's adjust some more lighting. There we go. Turn it to the right to make it brighter. And now we're going to turn on our nose, a wheel, a steering. NW steer is nose wheel steering. Flip that there button up. Now let's review this here a little bit here. So that there, when you tap on it and you turns it, In your altitude indicator display, you can see it's flipping from FMS1 to VOR1 to VOR2. That's your nav source. That's what's going to show up in your display, and that's also what the navigation feature of the airplane will follow when you are using either the FMS or you're using VOR. Those two buttons on the upper left, those change the BRG. Those change the indicators that show up in your ROSE compass in your left display. The button on the bottom right there, that changes your barometer from hectopascals to inches of mercury. That knob on the bottom left will, you can use that to change your VR speeds. However, the button right above it does absolutely nothing. But the knob, if you want to change your VR speeds, you can use that knob to change your VR speeds. All right, so that knob right there adjusts the minimum descent altitude and your decision height. The outer band will switch it from decision height to MDA. The inner band of green will make the numbers higher or lower when you turn it. And the center button, I've never been able to get it to do anything, but it does make a clicky sound, which I like. However, it doesn't really matter what numbers you put in here, because it'll still show up incorrect in the HUD. In the heads-up display, it's going to show during the flight, it's going to show a decision height of 60, and I put in a decision height of 200. But anyways, that's what that center knob does there. Now this knob here, the outer green band, I've never been able to get it to do anything other than make a clicky sound. The inner green band will zoom in and zoom out of your map. And that's really the only function that that knob has, but it is very useful when you need to zoom in or out. And as I said before, that bottom one on the left, you can use that to change your VR speeds. The outer green band will switch the VR speed, and then the inner green band will actually change the speed itself of the VR number that you're trying to change. This here is the clock, and you can switch it from local time to UTC time to the date, which I don't know where they get the date from. The button underneath that is the chronograph. If you push that, it'll zero out. You push it again, it'll start counting. And then push it again, it'll stop. Push it again, it'll clear it out. If you're gonna, if you need to time a procedure turn or something of that nature, the upper button's up there. The ET is for estimated time. So if you push that, it'll zero out the bottom row of numbers, and then it'll start counting from the time you push the button. And then if you leave that alone, and then look at it after your flight, it'll tell you exactly how long you've been flying for. Alright, I love lights. Let's turn on the beacon lights. And let's flip the passenger signs on. It doesn't matter if you flip them to on or auto. Either one is fine. So we flip both of those to wherever you want to flip them to, and then flip that switch down for the emergency lights. Now let's fire up the APU. The left black button, push that. wait a few seconds, push the one next to it, and then that'll fire up the APU. And majority of the time, the generator will kick on automatically, and it'll turn off the external power automatically. You'll hear some chimes, and then that means that the generator for the APU is running, and then the external power is off. If you don't hear the chime and the APU is running, then just push the external power button, and that will switch what it needs to switch for you. You can use this knob to adjust the barometer. That's one place you can adjust it. So I believe the actual inches of mercury in the area here is 30.12, if I remember the METAR correctly, for this date and this time. You can switch it there, or if you push the knob down there on the bottom right, you can switch it, and as you can see, the altitude is changing and the barometer itself is changing. Remember, the button above that changes it from hectopascals to inches. Let's adjust our heading for the runway. I think it's 240. That heading knob, by the way, when you push it and the green shows up around it, if you push that button in, it'll automatically line your heading up with the direction you're flying. So, you know, if you're flying on a heading of 25 degrees and your heading is pointed to, 200, push that, it'll line up with your heading. We're going to set the altitude as well. That's what I'm doing now for 16,000 feet. And then let's see here. Let's put our speed bug up to 200 and something. So, we can kind of see it. And then when we push the speed button after takeoff to do our climb, it'll be pretty close to where we need it to be. Push the FD button for flight director. Push the nav button. All right, let's fire up this bird. So let's put on the, let's turn on the ignition switch, and then push the right button there to start the ignition. And then on the bottom row of numbers there that you see, when it says 20, go down here, push that little red box. That'll put the right thruster in idle where it needs to be. And after a few minutes, we're going to repeat the process for engine number 1. So you can see the engine's firing up now. Let's take a look from the outside of the engines. There's a pretty little airport here in Spain. These airports are much prettier in Europe than they are in America, that's for sure. Alright, so now let's push the left start button. And then when N2, which is the bottom little numbers there, gets up to about 20, we're going to push that red box there. And now your engines are fired up. Let's turn on the nav lights. And now let's turn the hydraulics on. You can either put them on auto or on. It does not really matter. I'm going to choose what I choose. You can certainly choose what you want to choose. Turn the ignition switch off. Let's turn the APU off. Now we're going to turn some packs on. Left pack on. Right pack on. Recirculation on. Sorry about the weird angle, but with this accessibility touch thing, I can't move the screen. So I just have to go at a weird angle, but sorry about that. Turn the right and left reverse thruster buttons on. And now we're going to put our flaps down to 8. And that's about it to get ready for takeoff. Then we just need to release the parking brake, and we'll be good to go. That right there is the parking brake. Just tap on that son of a bitch, and that'll release the brakes. More lights. Logo light. Taxi light. Now we're going to drop the hood. Push that knob right there. Turn it. And it releases. That knob up top there. Push it. That will adjust the brightness of the hood. Right now it's all the way up. But if you were to turn it counterclockwise, it will dim it till it's almost off completely. Landing lights, all 3 landing lights on. And then we're going to turn the strobe lights on. And then we'll be ready for takeoff. Alright, let's push the autopilot button, and then we're going to push the speed button, and then turn the speed knob to 250, and that will keep our plane at 250 knots, the climb, and then when we get to 10,000 feet, we're going to change it to 300, and then it will stay around 300 knots for the remainder of our climb to 16,000 feet. Now you want to move your thrusters back to climb speed under the N1. It will switch from takeoff, and now it says CLB for climb, leave it there for your remainder of your climb. Alright, so we're crossing about 10,000 feet. Let's put the speed up to 300. 300. And then we got to turn off the landing lights, and we're going to turn off the logo light. So, left off, nose off, right off, taxi off, logo light off. To prepare for our landing, I always go over to the co-pilot side in this plane, and I'm going to switch the nav source right now from FMS1 to VOR1, because I already have the correct frequency in. I'm now going to put the correct course in, which I believe it's 007, so I'm going to switch it from FMS1 to, there we go, now it says, VOR1, ILS1, and now we're going to go up to the course knob in the autopilot. And it's a little tough to see because it's so far away, but Aerofly thought that was best. So now I'm going to push the course knob and I'll turn it so it says 07 degrees. So that's going to be set for the VOR ILS1. Then I'm going to switch the nav source to VOR2. And I'm going to set that one to the same course as well, because they both have the same course. However, now, switching it on the co-pilot side, when we switch back to the pilot side, it will have the correct course already in there because we programmed it. If you were to change everything now on the pilot side, you would have to turn off the FMS nav, and that's going to make the plane kind of, not really know what it's doing. So, anyways, I do it that way. If you don't want to do it that way, you certainly don't have to. But I'm doing it that way. Now we're going to get ready for our descent. So we need to lower our altitude. So I'm going to put it down to about the area that, the altitude where we're going to hopefully capture the glide scope and punch that bitch right in the face. You know how we do. Push the VS button, and then we're going to scroll down to minus 1,800, minus 2,000 feet per minute. We'll keep an eye on it, but, it's a pretty quick flight, so we're already descending. But when you want to descend in this airplane, there's no VNAV. You need to do it yourself by pushing the VS button and then scrolling that wheel to whatever you want to descend down to, as far as how many feet per minute you want to descend down to. All right. Now pushing the speed button here and turning it doesn't do jack shit for the airplane. The only thing it does is just change where the speed bug is, so you can quickly look at your altitude indicator display or the HUD and have a reference point. Other than that, it doesn't do a damn thing. I'm going to line up the heading right now. I'm pushing that button in, and I'm getting ready to switch over to heading mode. The rest of this flight is pretty straight. And then we just make the turn to the ILS. So I'm going to now switch the nav source to the ILS. And, we're going to just control the plane ourselves now. no flight management system directing us. We're going to keep the heading going, and then we will, push the approach button when the ILS name shows up in our display. Once the ILS name shows up, then we can push the approach button, and that will arm the localizer and the glide scope. Now that we're getting ready to cross 10,000 feet, let's put these lights back on. Left on, nose on, right on, logo on. And then what we're going to do now is take a look at our arrival today, the approach into the airport, and then we're going to do a slight amount of drifting as well. So let's take a look at this Jeppesen chart for the runway we are soft and buttery touchdown landing on today. My friends, this is your checklist for our arrival today. Make sure you check each one of these items off before you make your soft, buttery touchdown. Now here is the Jeppesen chart for where we landing today. As you can see, the runway right there, runway 1, course of 007, and we're going to put our wheels right up in the touchdown zone and get the softest, the butteriest, and the touchdownest landing. right, folks, we're close enough now. Let's push the approach button. I pushed it once, but the red circle wasn't on it, so I wanted to push it again. And now in white, on our altitude indicator display, you can see localizer and GLIDESCOPE are both armed and ready to go.
$2,500.
Yes, y'all, as you can see on the hood right there where the red circle was, we are getting ready to line up with the ILS. So what we're going to do now, I'm just going to make a little bit of a head and turn. I want to be around 25, 30 degrees away, you know, from my angle. So we need to pick up the 007 course. So let's turn this to like 30 degrees, something like that. And we should, as we get a little closer, we should capture the localizer pretty easily. And then we don't need to do nothing else except capture the GLIDESCOPE at that point. Once the localizer captures, the localizer will line you up for that 007 course automatically. Alright, folks, so the GLIDESCOPE more than likely... Oh, localizer has been captured. I repeat, the localizer has been captured. Now the plane will line up all on its own. The GLIDESCOPE more than likely is not going to capture until we're about 4 miles away from the airport. According to the chart that I put up a little bit ago, you know, with your YouTube checklist that you need to do before you click off this video, the GLIDESCOPE should capture about 4 miles out, and that'll leave us plenty of room to land because we're only going to be about 1,600 feet in the air. So we're just going to continue on our path, pay attention to our speed, our flaps, and all that shit, and then the GLIDESCOPE should capture around 4 miles out, and then we're going to punch that bitch right in the face, and then we're going to make a softer, a buttery, a touch, a down. Alright, folks, as you can see on the HUD, that diamond on the right is lining up in the center, which means that GLIDESCOPE is good. There we go. The GLIDESCOPE is ours. Now, you know what this means if you've seen these videos before. If you haven't seen it, and it's the first time, we lining up to do the belly touchdown. I got a belly. It's kind of big. I'm not scared to admit it. And when I get ready for the landing and the GLIDESCOPE captures on these planes, I put that son of a bitch iPad right up on my belly, and then I recalibrate it, and then when I deactivate the autopilot, It doesn't swivel, shimmy, shake, move up and down, rattle, roll. It don't do nothing except stay where it should. So anyways, I'm just going to hover over this red button until we get to about 1,000 feet. Then I'm going to push it. And then we're going to put this bird where it belongs. $500, $400, $300,
Glide slow.
200,
Glide slow.
100 above.
100, minimums, 50, 40, 30, 20. Is it soft? Is it buttery? Is it a touchdown? I think it's all three. Yes, sir. Softest, butteriness, touchdown, and yes. Yes, sir. Let's see this shit. And it's the replay. Oh, my goodness. I think that was a good landing. Yes, sir. Let's see. Let's see how we do. I think we did good. Yes, sir. This soft, buttery. Oh, just barely in the touchdown zone. Thank you, my friends. Thank you very much for taking this flight today. I certainly do appreciate you being on this journey. Hopefully you liked it. You will leave a comment. You will click that thumbs up. And you will subscribe. This is Greg. I'm your pilot and your captain. If you didn't like the video, let me know. But still click the thumbs up. Still subscribe. Still click the notification bell. And still leave a comment. And that's about it, folks. Until the next time I see you in the friendly skies, this is Greg signing off. See ya!
Glide slow.
200.
Glide slow.
100 above.
100. Minimums. 50, 40, 30, 20, 10.